Good morning, everyone. Welcome again to another Sunday. Here, let me turn this up. Welcome. Another Sunday on the Make Peace with Food, and we're going to talk more about food. Exciting, and I'm working on my green tea cashew milk. I don't know if you can see it. Probably not. Anyway, so today, well, the thing is, I don't usually have a plan on what to talk about until like few minutes before. So um, today we're going to talk about a ketogenic diet, or most of you refer it to keto. Um, so before we start, I want to put this announcement out there. I'm starting a 5-day challenge next week or the week after. I'll put up more information in a few days. But I would love to invite all of you to this 5-day challenge. It's a free challenge. It's for people who've been dieting, trying everything, trying all kinds of diet and still not able to lose the weight. Or you keep losing that same 20 or 50 pounds over and over again. You're just feeling so frustrated, like nothing ever works. And so this 5-day challenge is for you to learn a new eating philosophy that works for your body and works for your lifestyle, because that's what I see in a lot of my patients coming to see me is that they're all following all this kind of diet out there and nothing seems to work for them because it is not their diet. You're basically eating a meal plan that is meant for someone else, and that's the reason why it doesn't work. So in this 5-day challenge, I'm going to teach you what really works and help you create a plan that works for you, and it's going to be part of you and stick with you for the rest of your life. So you can actually enjoy a perfect body, feel amazing in your own body, in your own skin, and not have to cover or shy away from showing some um, your amazing body. So DM me, DM me, or I think the link is in the bio, or I'm gonna put the link under a comment on Facebook because I'm live on both Instagram and Facebook right now. So if you're interested, comment, DM me, or click on the link. I'll make sure that you get that invitation link. So that's it, and then let's get started. So the reason why I want to do this is because I'm actually creating working on creating this 5-day challenge, the lesson plan. And I just want to bring that up because that's what a lot of my patients been doing. Because usually when the doctor send a patient to come see me for weight loss, I don't just like give you like here, well, you're this tall, this high, or this tall, this much weight, and then you need this much calories a day, your BMR, and then let's take 500 calories out, and here's a meal plan. Go follow this, come back and see me in a month. I don't do that. I take a pretty um, detailed history. I look at what they eat, ask them how the schedule is, what they do for work, how is their work schedule, how often do they eat, what kind of facility they have at work, whether they can heat up food, whether they can bring food. And a lot of my patients don't even eat at all when they're at work. That's really sad. I think everyone should have a lunch break. And I think that's another topic that I'll talk about because people just put their work in front of themselves. They rather starve themselves to work for someone else and not feed themselves. But anyway, um, and then also um, look at what have they tried before because most of the patients that I get referral for from the doctors is a lot of times these patients they try everything, right? Like they try every diet out there, keto, intermittent fasting, low carb, low fat, whatever, and then they just got stuck. They just can't lose the weight, so they go to see the doctors. Like, oh my god, maybe something's wrong with me. So I go see the doctor. Doctor did all the tests and everything. Everything came back normal, and then so the doctor's like, I don't know, go talk to the dietitian. So that's how I get all this patient that I work with. So usually I try to figure out what have they tried before, what worked and what not. And the one that I get the most of Um, the most the ones that I get the most of is the ketogenic diet, right? Of course, I'm pretty sure everyone's been on the ketogenic diet. Like social media is like full of testimonials, like I lost 20 pounds or 30 pounds in a month doing this diet, and I can teach you. So it sounds like this really amazing diet, right? Like a ketogenic diet is able to get you to lose that 20, 30 pounds or even 50 pounds in a short period of time. But what they're not showing you is the second half of the story where people actually gain all the way back with the keto after the ketogenic diet. And I just want to talk a little bit about my background with the ketogenic diet. So right now, everyone when it comes up, when someone mentioned ketogenic diet or the keto diet, people automatically think of weight loss. But I've been working with the ketogenic diet even before people start talking about it for weight loss. Because again, my background is a pediatric dietitian. So I work with a lot of kids with very, very, very rare genetic disorder. Specifically, actually, many years ago, is areas that I work with a lot of the kids. We put a lot of kids on ketogenic diet for seizure control and also for mitochondrial disorder. The mitochondria is like a tiny part or this organ inside your cells that produce energy. So anyway, I'm not going to talk about the biochemistry for that, but I just want to explain to you that I have a very um, deep experience with working with ketogenic diet. So a lot of times when I see people doing ketogenic diet and I look at the meal plan, I was like, that's very lame ketogenic diet. The ketogenic diet that we work and we when we're doing in the hospital doing the right way, we rate it by the ratio like 4-1, 3-1, 5-1. Most of our patient is on a 4-1 minimum, 4-1, and sometimes 5-1 ratio. And those ratio is 1 unit of carb plus protein to 4 or 5 units of fats. So these are super, super high fat diet. And actually, one of my patients, um, she needs to be on a ketogenic diet. Pretty much, that's the only way to keep her alive. And we actually kept her alive for over 10 years now, very fortunately. Um, yeah, her ketogenic diet is like 93, almost 99% fats. She gets, the last time I did an assessment on her, she was only getting about 4 to 5 grams of carbs and protein total a day. And all her medication has to be in the IV version because a lot of medication do have carbs in it. So, um, and when patients are on ketogenic like that, we use a lot of additional supplements. We don't just put someone on a high fat diet. It's a very it's a very medical diet. So I work very closely with the pharmacist, make sure that this patient, when they're on a high fat diet, they get the right kind of supplements as well. Things like CoQ10, B vitamins, and very high dose of what's the other one? Carnitine. So all these supplements, they have to be in super high dose to support this high fat diet. So like I'm just trying to tell you that I understand and have very good understanding of the ketogenic diet. So if anything, I'm a very good person that you should listen to when I talk about the ketogenic diet. So going back to people using ketogenic diet for weight loss, this is kind of interesting. Like a few years ago, can't remember how long. One of the dietitian, the adult dietitian, actually called me. She's like, "Do you know anything about ketogenic diet?" I was like, "She's like, I got a patient coming and see me. He wants to be on a ketogenic diet." I was like, um, "Why is he going to you? He should go through our clinic because if he's on a ketogenic diet, because when I first learned about ketogenic diet, the only thing that I know that ketogenic diet is for seizure control. So anytime someone comes to a hospital and they're on a ketogenic diet, they have to go through the special clinic, and that means that they have to go through me because I'm pretty much the only dietitian who knows how to do the ketogenic diet. So then she's like, oh yeah, he said he's doing for weight loss. I was like, what? How does that work? I don't get it, right? So, but anyway, so I told her what it is and how it is, just the way that I know it, not for the sense of weight loss. And then slowly over the next couple of weeks, she kept calling me. She's like, "There's another patient coming in for a ketogenic diet, and they want to lose weight." I was like, "What? What are they talking about? Like, I don't get it. The ketogenic diet is for seizure control. What are they talking about, like, for weight loss?" So I started looking deep, um, looking at more research. That's why I found out, I think it's Dr. Atkins at that time who advocate the ketogenic diet. But anyway, so still, I didn't quite understand this whole thing because when Dr. Atkins do it, it was like something like, and then someone also called it the zone diet, like 40, 40, 30, no, 30, 30, 40. Yeah, that makes 100. So they pretty much, um, they do it like a high fat diet. So I was like, okay, how does a high fat diet help with weight loss? But anyway, that was like probably 10 years ago or something like that. But anyway, so now I have a much better understanding of the ketogenic diet, and I do agree to some extent that it works. The the theory and the science behind it, it works. But the part that makes it not work is the psychological part of it. Because most of my patients, when they come to see me, and I was like, oh, so what have you tried before? They're like, oh yeah, I tried the ketogenic diet and lost a lot of weight, but I gained all back. So I was like, so why did you stop that? And they're like, few answers. The most common answers that I got, I think, is two most common answers I got is one, it is not sustainable because a lot of them are women. They have to cook for someone else in the family. They're like, I just can't keep cooking two dinners every night. Or my husband just hated when I have to eat something different than the rest of the family. Then second reason is, oh, I just get bored of not eating carbs, so I just kind of let go and then let myself eat whatever I want. So when I look at those things, so I was like, oh, okay, so ketogenic diet helps. The reason why it didn't help is because you cannot keep it um, as your own. So that's more a psychological issue more than the other thing. But the thing is, we also have to agree on that the ketogenic diet is not going to be sustainable because number one, it forces you to take a whole food group out, or actually one whole macronutrient group out. Out of all the food that we eat, there are basically, in my world, there are four macronutrients: carbohydrate, protein, fats, and water. Even though you think that water is not important, your body is 70% water. So actually water is way more important than the food that you eat. So when you have a diet where you just blindly, without understanding why you're taking one food group out, it's totally different. You're not going to keep doing it. So with the ketogenic diet, they basically tell you take the whole all the carbohydrate out, and if someone's doing the true ketogenic diet, like for most regular people, they're doing 20 grams of carbs per day, which is not sustainable because your body do needs some carbohydrate to sustain. So when you stay on a ketogenic diet for weeks and months, you forcing your body to switch from burning carbohydrate as fuel to switching to burning fat as fuel. So that's the idea of the ketogenic diet is when you take all the carbs out, your body is being forced to burn fat as fuel. And as you burn that fat, you lose the body fat that you've been trying to lose, right? But the thing is, like there's so many ways that how people was doing the ketogenic diet wrong, but I'll just try to touch on as much as I can today. But so when what most people don't realize is that I think part of it is um, most of us or most people who don't have a very good understanding of how the body works and how the biochemistry work in the body, they just think that the body is kind of like a little bonfire. You throw something in and then it burns and then it gives you energy. But that's not how it is. Like the other thing I also look at is I often ask these people what kind of food and diet they were eating before they switched to the ketogenic diet. A lot of times, most people gain weight is when they're eating a lot of processed carb food. So the diet is actually very high carb on its own without any even intervention. So they're eating like breakfast is like a dessert buffet, like pancakes, waffles, cereals, or oatmeal, sugar sweet oatmeals. So they start out breakfast with like a um, dessert platter. Then lunch, if they do eat lunch, is like full of carbs again, like pizza, sandwiches, or things like that. And then dinner is the same, just loaded with carbs. Even though they might say, "Oh yeah, I eat like a balanced meal, like rice and veggies and protein," but then the rice is like the majority of the whole plate. So when you look at someone who go from a super high processed carb diet and then go to a ketogenic diet, which is lower carb, super high fat, they're going to lose the weight just because of the fact that they're not eating all that carbs. But then again, like I said earlier, the problem of the ketogenic diet is that they didn't learn the fundamentals of what is healthy eating. So they just blindly follow something that doesn't work. Like in my case, right? Like how I talk about how I used to do a lot of the ketogenic diet for kids um, to help them control seizure. The reason why we don't do that as much nowadays is because we don't have the specialist um, to do that. So we're blocking everyone coming into Hawaii for our hospital with very very severe problems. So but anyway, the reason why a lot of my patients were able to stay on a ketogenic diet for years is because they have a very, 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 very good reason. A lot of the kids that we used to put on ketogenic diet, usually if it's for seizure control, is because they run out of medication. There's tons of anti-seizure medication out there, but because their seizure is so stubborn, they try every medication at super high dose, at a dose that sometimes can even cause hearing loss. Like they just run out of medication options. So then we're like, okay, let's try the ketogenic diet, and if it helps, we keep them on it. And most of the times, the parents are able to help the kids to maintain to be on the ketogenic diet because they have a very, very good reason for it. Because this ketogenic diet is saving the child's life, stopping the seizure that the child's experiencing. Or in a case with some kids who are born with mitochondrial disorder, usually these kids are severely disabled and they can't even eat by mouth. So a lot of times they actually get the ketogenic diet through a liquid formula that is fed through a feeding tube. So that's easy, and parents don't mind doing that because which basically makes everything super easy for them. They don't have to mix anything. It's a very special ketogenic diet formula that we use, and parents just feed it through the tube. And again, there is a very, very good reason for them to do that because when someone have a mitochondrial disorder, the ketogenic diet is the only medical treatment to keep them alive. A lot of these kids, if they have some of the kids who have very, very, very severe mitochondrial disorder, they don't even survive. A lot of them die within the first few days of life or even before they're born. So if they're born, the only way to keep them alive is the ketogenic um, diet. So in those cases, they have a good reason for that. But a lot of the adults who are doing the ketogenic diet, they don't have a very good reason. The only reason is, oh, I just want to lose 20 pounds, right? So the goal is, okay, I'm going to lose 20 pounds with the ketogenic diet. So even though I cannot eat cakes or cookies and cupcakes and things like that for like a month or two, I'm okay with that, right? So they have a very short term goal. So when they finally reach that goal, lose that 20, 30 pounds, and they're like, okay, I lost my 20 pounds now. I can fit into my bathing suit. Now I can go on that vacation with my husband or my boyfriend. I'll feel good and look good. And then on the trip, of course, when you go on a trip, you don't really want to be on a diet, right? So you just eat everything. Or when you're done with the trip, you're like, oh yeah, I'm done. I lost my 20 pounds. I can go back to eating whatever I want now. And then next time I want to lose weight or need to lose weight again, I'll just go back on the ketogenic diet, right? Or because it worked for you last time. So that's kind of the diet mentality, is that people just think that diet is kind of like a hobby. Like, oh yeah, I have a vacation or my friend's getting married. I need to look good in the bridesmaid's dress. So I need to lose like 20, 30 pounds, right? So you go to the ketogenic diet because that's what you know works for you last time. But what most people do not realize, like I said, is seeing all this success story on the social media is that a lot of these people, after a couple rounds of doing the ketogenic diet, they actually it stopped working, because that's exactly what a lot of the people who come to see me, they told me like, oh yeah, I tried the ketogenic diet this last time and it didn't work. So it's again going back, if you have going back to a couple videos that I did before, and I always talk about how dieting actually doesn't work and actually causes you to gain weight, is because when they do the ketogenic diet, even though you're not messing with the calories amount, you're still messing up with the body metabolism, because you're taking completely one whole macronutrients out of the system. And when people think that, oh yeah, I'm still eating, it's just that now instead of burning carb for energy, my body's gonna be burning fat as energy. The thing is, your body is gonna take a while to adjust to that. So when think of it this way, it's kind of like your cars, right? I remember there's an episode of The Amazing Race. I don't know if anyone of you watched, but they were in somewhere in Middle East, and then they have to drive the car from one place to another, and then and it's a long trip, so every one of them stop by at the gas station and put gas in the car, and then after they put the gas in the car, filled up the gas tank, they start driving, and all of the team, the car stalled, and they're like, what the hell, something's wrong with the car, right? So they try, like one team actually tried to find a mechanic, and the mechanic was like, oh, you need a new engine, and it's going to take a couple of days for the new engine to come in, and we can change your engine for you. And then the other team like can't remember what they do. So all these different teams like, oh my god, the car stalled and we need to get to the next destination, but I don't know what's wrong. But only one team figured out what's wrong with the car. They realized, they went to the gas tank. You know the gas tank where you open the thing? It tells you what gas you're supposed to put in. Because all these um, participants, they were from US. In US, we're used to putting gasoline in the car, right? Just regular gasoline. But they're in Europe, they're in Middle East. The cars are diesel fuel cars. So this only one team went get out of the car and look after, actually they still searched for a while. They were searching for a while, and then they're like, let's see what kind of gas we're supposed to put in the car. So they look for sure it was a gasoline car, and they put regular, no, it was the diesel fuel engine car, but they put gasoline in the car. So they're like, oh my god, we put the wrong gas in the car. So what they did is they went under the car. I don't know how they do it, but they went under the car and drink all the gasoline out of the gas tank, and then walk back to the gas station and get diesel fuel and put in the car, and they went off on that. So the purpose of me telling this story is that when your diet before you start the ketogenic diet used to be so much carbs, so much processed carbs, your body just get used to burning carbs to use as energy. But when most people don't realize is that burning carbs for energy and burning fat as energy is two totally different process. So when you force your body by not giving carbs and think that you're forcing your body to use fat as energy, that's what our assumption is, right? When we go on the ketogenic diet is, okay, now I block all the carbs out. There's no carbs, so my body will automatically switch to burn fat as energy. But that's not the case. You might still have some fat burning, but actually your body switched to protein first, because fat is hard, is always the last resort. The way to think about it is fat is actually gold and diamonds in your body. Those are things that you want to keep as long as possible until absolutely you have to use it, as in um, refugees in a concentration camp that you see in pictures from World War II. Like those people are so emaciated, like they have no body fat on them. It's because they have been on starvation for so long. The muscle tissue's gone. So finally, your body have to use fat as energy. But most of us, we don't get to that point. And when it comes to like how the body prioritize burning using resources for energy, carbohydrate is number one. Second is protein, and fat is always the last. So that means that in order for you to burn fat, you have to eat a certain way and exercise a certain way to trick the body to think that, okay, it's okay, we can use the fat, we don't have to keep it locked up in the system. And there's way to do that, and a ketogenic diet is not the best way to do it. So then what a lot of people talking about that keto flu when they start the ketogenic diet is really your body freaking out like, oh my god, there's no carbs, because carbs is my source of energy, right? But then there's no carbs, what am I supposed to do? And then there's some fat, but it's all locked up, I cannot touch the fat. So then your body start burning protein as energy. And part of it is just like your body just reprioritizing, getting used to all of that um, change in the diet and the environment. Because when you change your diet, you basically change the environment of your body and the all the biochemistry stuff. And like I said, when we usually do the ketogenic diet on kids for seizure control, we don't just up the fat intake. We add a lot of high dose vitamins to help boost the body using fat as energy. Because the thing is, we, like your body is not like just a burner where you just throw things in and it burns. Your body, the way your body makes energy is through the mitochondria, feeding things through the Krebs cycle. And in order for the Krebs cycle to use fat as energy, we need a lot of other stuff like carnitine, CoQ10, and alpha lipoic acid, and what else? Carnitine, alpha lipoic acid, and then CoQ10, and one more thing I forgot. But anyway, so we need all those substrate to push all the fat in that. So like a lot of my patients, when I first started them with the weight loss, I keep them on a high fat diet because most people's diet, the reason why most people are eating or gaining weight is because their diet to start out with was just crappy. A lot of processed food, a lot, especially processed carbs and stuff like that. So I kind of help them change it, and I also add supplements. Most of my patients, I start them on at least three different kind of supplements to help them replenish what's missing, also to help them suppress that sugar cravings and carb cravings. That's the other thing too with the ketogenic diet is a lot of people failed with the ketogenic diet is that they crave sugar. Almost every single one of my patient who comes and was on the ketogenic diet before, they all said that they crave sugar. That was like another reason why the ketogenic diet didn't work for them. So they stay on it for a little bit. So I see a lot of military population, so they have like weight standard to meet. So when they meet that weight standard, they just like, oh, okay, I just let it all go and start eating all the carbs and cookies and things like that. And you know, when you suppress your urge to eat those sweet stuff for a while, and when you do have that opportunity to actually eat it now, you don't just eat one cupcakes or you don't eat just one cookies. You just binge on it because it's almost like kind of like different way to explain this, kind of like a volcano. That urge just builds, right? So on day one of the ketogenic, you're like, oh yeah, I want a cupcake, but it's okay, I need to lose the weight now. So that urge is like this. On day two, it goes bigger. The more longer you don't allow yourself to have that urge becomes bigger and bigger, and eventually it grows into a monster. And then when you're like, okay, I'm gonna let go, and then it just burst, or like a rubber band that's been stretch, and then snap. You know how painful it snap, right? When the rubber band. So that's kind of how it is with the ketogenic diet. Like just so many reasons that it doesn't work in the long term. Okay, but like I said, We do use that medically, ketogenic diet. We use that medically to treat children with seizure, mostly children, not adults. It works better in children. So let me see what else. Yeah, so the ketogenic, just to summarize, it's not sustainable. It's not sustainable because it's not your diet. You don't learn the basic fundamental healthy eating. It actually causes more sugar cravings because your body is meant to have burn some calories or burning some carbs as source of energy, and then also switching the type of energy might not be the most efficient. Um, because you're basically starving your body when you're not giving your body that carbs to use, because your body's like, I'm stuck, I don't have carbs to burn as energy, then I cannot dig into the fat, so I'm going to use the, the protein or the muscle mass or organ tissue for energy. And then over time, when you trick your body or force your body to into a stress mode using protein as energy, or and the protein comes from either your muscle or your organ. So over time, you're actually damaging some of the organs. Then when you go back, when you stop that ketogenic diet, and most people when they stop the ketogenic diet, it's not like they go on a healthy diet. They go back to exactly what they were eating before, the exact same kind of ways of eating that caused them to gain weight. So it's almost like it's another way of yo-yo dieting. Even though you might not have changed your caloric intake or have not actually implement a calorie deficit, but just that high carb, that low carb, you go low carbs on keto, then high carbs and low carbs on keto, you you actually messed up a lot of the hormones, especially the insulin. So it can actually over time can cause insulin resistance because every time people don't realize, and I say that a lot, I felt like, is that when you eat a lot of carbs after you didn't go on ketogenic, after you've been on the ketogenic diet for a long time, or you suppressing yourself, go on super clean diet and not eat anything unhealthy at all, you don't realize that when you actually binge on the sugar, you're not just getting calories. People only focus on calories, but it is not. When you eat a huge load of processed carbs, like cookies, crackers, granola, I always have to throw in granola and those sugary oatmeals and stuff like that. Things that manufacturer told you is healthy, but they're still processed carbs. All of those things is throwing your hormone off. When when I talk about hormones, people often think of hormone as in just female hormones like the estrogen, progesterone, follicle stimulating hormones, and all those. But when I talk about hormones, it's all of those plus your insulin, glucagon, serotonin, dopamine, norepinephrine, and all of those, and sleeping hormone, melatonin, all of those hormones are being thrown off because hormones are not individual things that work in its own environment. Every single hormones in your body works together. They're somewhat directly or indirectly related to everybody else. So when you throw your body off by eating a low carb diet, and then you're like, oh, I gave up. I'm gonna have a cheat day or cheat meal, and I'm gonna load up on carbs, eat, or it's my birthday today. I'm just going to eat a lot of birthday cake with no guilt, which is fine, but you just need to understand what it does to your body. Is what happens is when you eat that huge load of sugar, especially processed sugar, you're going to get not just a blood sugar spike, but also an insulin spike. And insulin is what we call an anabolic hormones. And what that means is anabolic means building, body building. So when you eat a huge load of carbs and you induce a huge load of blood sugar, and that huge spike in blood sugar triggers your body to make a huge amount of insulin, which is an anabolic hormone. And the job of the insulin, actually job the insulin have a couple jobs. One is to bring all that your blood sugar down to normal. And the way the insulin does it is to shove all this extra sugar from your bloodstream into the body cells. And usually, the body cells normally will get the carbs and then burn it as energy to keep the cells alive, right? But when you have that huge load of blood sugar spike and huge load of insulin spike. So your blood sugar actually get rushed into the body cells really quickly. And when the body and when your tissue cells suddenly have this huge load of sugar, but it can only use so much, right? So what it does is it turns all that extra sugar from your blood, turn it into fat and store it in the cells. It's the same thing like say suddenly you won $1 million in a lottery. What do? You can only spend like so much at a time. So you put the rest of your $1 million in the bank, right? So that's exactly what your body is doing when you have that huge load of carbs and sugar coming in. It has to put it away because that carbs and sugar cannot stay in your blood because your body is always constantly maintaining a balance. So a lot of it gets shoved into the cells, especially when you don't have, um, or that's how it works. But over time, if you keep doing that binge eating on sugar, like every day or once a week, couple times a week, that process keep going on and going on and going on. Eventually, your body run out of place in the cells to store that extra sugar as fat. So then the sugar continues to stay in your blood sugar and stay high. That's how people start getting diagnosed with diabetes. Or at a certain level, some of that sugar into the get pee out into urine. That's really how people develop diabetes is when you just keep eating all that processed carbs all the time. Okay, and um, and then the other thing is when your body develop insulin resistance where you're not recognizing insulin at all. So kind of how I explained after so many times of binge eating, eventually you still have that blood sugar spike after you eat all that processed carbs, and then your insulin still comes out. But now because there's no more room in the cells to put that sugar into the cells, so the blood sugar stay outside, but the insulin is still high because your blood sugar is high, right? Because remember, insulin responds to high blood sugar. So that's how you develop insulin resistance. Your body keeps making more insulin to try and push more of the sugar into the cells and turn it into fat. But eventually, so so when your blood sugar is high, insulin level is high. And remember, insulin is an anabolic hormone. So that means that it creates things, it builds things. And also when insulin is high, your body locks in the fat because again, insulin only responds to high blood sugar. And when do you have a high blood sugar in the blood? Is when you eat, right? So when you eat, your blood sugar stay high, insulin levels stay high, right? So that means that when there's insulin, there's food. So your body's like, okay, there's food now coming in. We don't need to use the fat, so keep the fat out and try to use up the sugar in the blood first. But then we're like, okay, but we still can't use it because there's too much sugar coming in. So that's what happened when you binge on sugar or carbs on the weekend and people think that oh yeah I didn't eat all day long, I skip breakfast, skip lunch, and then I eat like a huge dinner, and then and I always have sugar cravings at night or on the weekend, and you think that is totally okay because you ate clean the whole day or the whole week, then it's okay to eat a lot of carbs at the end of the day or the end of the week, but you're actually messing up your metabolism over time. And I see that also a lot in people who skip meals. Like a lot of people also into this whole intermittent fasting thing. And what I see a lot of times is that instead of like trying to eat healthy with that 1 or 2 meals they eat, they basically squeeze 3 meals into one. And again, when people doing intermittent fasting, they're not learning the fundamentals of healthy eating. So they just pretty much condense the, the unhealthy eating habits into a tiny 8 hour time frame. So most people, when they do the intermittent fasting, the most common one is the what 16-8, the 16-8. So you fast for 16 hours and leave yourself 8 hour windows to eat. So most people think that oh, if fasting for 16 hours is good, I'll make it even more fasting, make it more intense, right? So I've seen a lot of people eat only 1 meal a day, but that 1 meal is like three crappy meal um, loaded into 1 meal. So it's the same idea of how I just explained is when you have all this huge load of processed carbs in, it's going to mess up your metabolism. And the funny thing is these people come to see me because they're like, I don't understand. I eat only one meal a day, but I'm still not losing weight. So what happened is, like I said, they just don't eat, don't eat, don't eat. Then when it comes to that one day, one time a day that they eat a huge load of junk, like all the junk food that they normally eat. So normally, like I said, most people eat a pretty unhealthy diet to start with, right? So with the intermittent fasting is instead of trying to learn to eat healthy, they just squeeze all of the junk food diet into one meal. So again, it's kind of like running a marathon, right? If you don't normally run a marathon, suddenly you go out and run 26 miles. Can you imagine all that stress and the pain you're going to have after running that 26 miles in one day, right? On the other hand, if you space that out, they probably can do better just eating that crappy junk food diet, but space it out 3 times a day, right? But um, but no, what I see is that they eat very badly in that one meal they eat a day. I actually have one girl who saw me like years ago, like so they she doesn't eat all day. She's newlywed, so I think she just doesn't know how to take care of herself. So she'll wait till the husband comes home from work and they all eat dinner together. And and you think that when she try to lose weight, she'll try to learn how to make healthy meals, right? No, not. So she'll wait all day long, not eat, thinking that, oh yeah, I'm doing fasting, great. So when the husband comes home, they'll eat out at McDonald's. And instead of ordering like maybe just a sandwich and maybe a salad on the side or something somewhat small, she I think she eats like 3 meals in that one McDonald meal. She'll have like 20-piece chicken nuggets, plus I think one or two Big Macs or burgers, and then a fries and a soda. Like all of that in one meal after not eating all day. And then she come and try to ask me to help her with weight loss. I was like, look, you're eating the wrong food and starving yourself. So, and like I said, I have many patients who do that before they come to see me. And the funny thing is, all I did is just tell them, okay, you need to discontinue that whole intermittent fasting crap. Because look, every one of us is practicing intermittent fasting whether you like it or not. It's just that these people try and make it very fancy and you think that you're doing something fancy, but you're not. Every night when we go to bed, as long as we're not waking up in the middle of the night and getting a snack, all of us are doing intermittent fasting. From the time you finish dinner until the next morning you eat your breakfast, that's your fasting. Every one of us is doing that. So I have to remind them, every one of us is doing intermittent fasting, whether you like it or not. As human, as animal, every one of us alive is doing that, except some of my patients who get two feedings at night. That's a different story. But yeah, so I have to explain to them that every one of us doing intermittent fasting, you don't need to go to the extreme to do it that way. And plus, you're eating when you suppress your eating all day and finally get to eat that one meal, you're gonna make the wrong choices. And we all know that when you're hungry, when you're tired, don't want to cook, and you don't have a plan of what to eat, you're gonna make bad choices. So then I, I explained to them, I want you to start eating 3 times a day. I don't care what you eat in that three times a day, whether you're hungry or not. You need to have a schedule to eat 3 times a day minimum. And in that meantime, you need to learn to retrain your body to give you the hunger signal. And I also give them a list of snack because a lot of times um, most of us just don't have that capability to make that planning yet. But snack is always something simple and easy. As long as you have something healthy along, always available with you. I told them, if your work is too busy, 5 minutes or 2 minutes is all you need. Grab a handful of nuts and put it in your mouth. You need to have a break. You need to have food in your system 3 times a day. I don't care what it is. You don't need to have a sit down meal or anything fancy. If it's just a snack, just a boiled egg or a handful of nuts or some fruits with nuts or cheese with crackers, something like that, just eat it. I just want you to have a break in the fast, like eating food 3 times a day. That's it. And then we'll slowly work towards a goal of learning to eat healthier. Because now, when you start eating that 3 meals a day, let's not use the word meals. When you start eating that 3 times a day, you have a consistent source of energy going into your body. So your body doesn't get to that starving mode at the end of the day and just shove everything into your mouth. So when you have more consistent energy, your body can let go and start burning energy, giving you more energy. And when you have better energy, your mood gets better. When your mood is better, you feel amazing and feel more motivated to do even more to help yourself feel better by eating healthier. But now you're in such a low energy mode, you can do a whole lot. But the bare minimum is just having healthy snacks available to you anytime, all the time with you. So what happened is when I start making these, uh, not I don't really make them. I just suggest them to do, and they usually do it when they start eating that 3 meals a day or 3 times a day, they all come back with weight loss and feel amazing. So we keep working on that. Okay, now you get the 3 meals in. Next thing we need to work on your hunger fullness signal. And the next thing we need to start adding on some meal planning, figuring out what works and what not for you. Because something that I also talk about a lot is that we need to work with food so that the food and eating works for our lifestyle. Because most people, when they go on a diet, whether it's ketogenic diet, low calories, low carb, whatever diet they're on, what most of these people is doing is they let food control them. Food becomes their 90% of what they think about. But in reality, food is just a tool that we use to carry on our mission or on our goal or our life purpose, right? It's kind of like the fuel in the car. You don't think about every single day what fuel you're gonna put in the car or at the gas station. You sat there for like 20 minutes trying to figure out what gas I should put in my car or how much I should put in the car. Am I putting too little, too much, right? Like me, I know what my car needs. I go to the gas station that I know have the fuel that my car can use, and I just put it in, fill it up to the top, so that way I don't need to keep coming back to the gas station. So we need to start thinking of food in a different way. And I know many of you out there felt that food is controlling you. But this is one thing that I want you to think about today, starting today. Ask yourself this question: what feeling is food giving you? Because we often think that we're addicted to food. Food for sure is addicting to certain people because especially processed food, processed carbs, those foods actually raise dopamine and serotonin level. So it actually calms you down. And I hear that all the time from my patients who's trying to lose weight is food calms me down. It's because food is chemical. When you eat food, it's not just calories in, calories out. When you eat food, your body reacts differently based on if it's carbohydrate, protein, or fats. So when you eat a huge load of processed carbs, your body responds differently. And those kind of food are the ones that tends to raise your dopamine level and your serotonin level, which both is going to help you feel calm and relaxed. So knowing that, instead of thinking and trying to persuade yourself that you're addicted to food, you're not addicted to food. Like I know people often say, "Oh, I love cookies, I love dessert, I love cake." You don't love the cake or cookies or ice cream and things like that. You love the feeling of after eating cookies, cupcakes, ice cream, and dessert. It's the feeling, that calmness feeling that you love, that happiness that you feel afterwards. That's the feeling you're addicted to. So now knowing that, like I said, ask yourself what feeling is food giving you. Then you realize that, oh, why is food giving me that feeling? Was there a history in your childhood where you remember, oh, every Saturday or every Sunday, my mom used to take me to this ice cream parlor that I just felt so loved, so special because it's the special time I have with my mom, right? So food has meaning, food has feelings, and that's what you're addicted to. So knowing that if Food makes you happy. Think of any other activities, any other new activities now that you can create that same feeling without the food, right? And also asking why you need, what feeling is triggering you to go get food. Because when people are addicted to food, again, they're addicted to the feelings. So they're actually self medicating themselves with food because food boosts your dopamine, boosts your serotonin. Same as a lot of the antidepressant is, that's what they do. They boost your serotonin level. So basically, you're self medicating yourself with food, except that you're using food and you're not using a drug that has a lot of side effects. But even though you think that food, oh yeah, food makes me feel good, have no side effects, the side effects is it messed up your metabolism in your body. Just like a lot of antidepressant and psychiatric medication, there's tons of other side effects, but one of the side effects is it causes weight gain. And most doctors don't tell patients that antidepressant can cause weight gain. I've seen kids who went on psych medication, gained like 30 pounds, do everything in the world, nothing works to get those weight off. But when they stop that medication, that 30 pounds just come right off, just like that. So um, those are other things that we need to look into. And again, most people just think that, oh yeah, I just have the fat genes. No, you don't have the fat genes because genetic doesn't determine your body. If everyone have fat genes, then there should be fat people in the concentration camp, right? No matter what they do. Even if they don't eat, they should be fat, right? No. So you don't have the fat genes, you just have a fat environment because our gene expression is in response to our environment. When you have, when you eat all the time out of stress, out of boredom, because that's the only cheap food you can afford, that's your environment working on your body. It's not because of your fat genes in there. And people often think they have fat genes because everyone in the family is fat. Again, it's the environment because family members eat the same food. Even when you move away from your parents, you inherited that eating habit from your parents, not because you inherited the fat genes. And also, is the other thing you might have inherited is the way you deal with life stressors, right? Some of us, there are many different other healthier ways to deal with life stressors. But if you grow up in a household, seeing your parents sitting in front of the TV, binging on chips, or every time you get upset, they're like, oh, I know you're upset, let's go eat ice cream. So there's subconsciously, with good intention, teaching you that when you have a unpleasant feeling, you can eat food to suppress or to distract you from that unhappy feelings. So knowing that it's not genetic, it's just programming that you inherited from your parents. So it's something that can be completely reversible. And again, I'm a hypnotherapist, and that's one of the area that I work with people to help people with is to help them undo binge eating and emotional eating because with hypnotherapy, we can go deep into your subconscious and figure out where when, where, and how you acquire that unhealthy coping mechanism of binge eating and emotional eating. So if you're interested, DM me or message me. I'll love to help you get rid of your binge eating. It's really simple because right now your binge eating might felt like uncontrollable because you don't understand it. But once you understand how, when, where, and how you acquire it, why you're binge eating, then the solution comes so clearly. So, but anyway, that's it for today. Thank you so much for being here. I love you all. Thank you so much for all your love and support. And again, um, I'm starting a 5 day challenge. So if any one of you are interested, it's a free 5 day challenge. You're going to learn so much in that 5 day to get you kickstarted on the weight loss journey, if that's your goal. Or if even if weight loss is not your goal, just to learn a healthy way of eating without all that bullshit that you hear from outside, you'll feel amazing. Okay, so thank you so much. You all have a wonderful Sunday. See you all next week. Bye.